Does he have it?
Medeiros is going to get it.
They're going to toss it. They haven't got it. He's on the outside line, though, going into the fastest corner on the circuit. Surely this can't work.
Dominic Ligner has got a sensational run outside line now, though, for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's caught back into play. Exactly. Miller's still start trouble. He's not a second and change. All of a sudden, Miller's back in play.
Can Barry do it? Big Barry's going to do it. Big Barry!
A very good afternoon, everybody, and welcome along to round 4 of the Virtual World Sportscar Championship. As last time out, back on the 5th of April, we headed to Imola. This time we're in the welcoming Ardennes Forest that can provide a spanner in the works or two. But it will be a case of seeing how things will go over the next 90 minutes. We have a lot of racers with us, well, pretty much the best part of 50 cars. So a combination of Hypercar, Hypercar AM, LMGT3 and LMGT3 AM will tackle this particular circuit. Let's have a look at the calendar of how we are getting through at the moment. So we've already had Daytona, we've already had the 2.4 hours of Daytona, 120 minutes of Sebring, the 90 minutes of Imola. We're here for the 90 minutes of Spa. Next time out on May 17th, we head to the state of Qatar and the Losail International Circuit. And then it's the 4.8 hours of Le Mans on June 7th. And we return stateside to Watkins Glen for the 60 laps of the Glen on June 21st. Interlagos for the 90 minutes of Sao Paulo on July 19th. The 90 minutes of COTA on August 30th. The 100 laps of Indy on September 13th. With the hills of Mount Fuji occupying us for an hour and a half, as well as the local circuit on September 27th. Road Atlanta for 100 laps will be the penultimate round of the season on October 25th. And then the 2 hours of Bahrain on November 15th closes out the 2025 campaign. And next up, the Circuit Spa-Francorchamps that was built back in 1921 and at some points measured well over double its current race distance, which is 7 kilometers, 4.35 miles, and it has a real true test, especially with the likes of Les Combes, Rivage, Pouhon, Coeur Paul Frere, and of course the infamous Blanchiment. You can't forget without saying Eau Rouge et Radiant through turns 2 to 4. So the keys to the race here at Spa-Francorchamps, well, it's Eau Rouge. Yes, you've got to be very, very careful. You've got to be on literally the limit of adhesion, but try not to go too wide unless you absolutely have to through turns 2 and 3. Sectors 2 and 3, it's about the corners, it's about technicality, it's about precision. But then you're also going to have a good tyre strategy as well. This particular circuit is a tyre killer, and the conservation of those tyres, whilst battling away, is a skill that you might need. You might need to become a bit of a tyre whisperer. So, looking at the hypercar strategy, well, they'll be using a mixture of either the medium or the hard compound tyre, fuel at 2x, and we could be looking between 22 to 25 minutes with maybe 3 stops on the course. The V-Series Cadillac, the 9X8 Peugeot, the 963 Porsche, and the 499 Ferrari are the cars to beat around this very fast circuit. GT, well, it's going to be medium tyres only for our Nyon production-based supercars, and it will be 1 times fuel, 2 stops, so anywhere between 30 to 35 minutes, but expect some drivers to leave it maybe until the last 20 to 15 minutes of the race, depending on their fuel saving. Cars to beat: Mercedes-AMG, the Z06 Corvette, the Ford Mustang, and the Ferrari 296. So we're going to take a look at the scores coming into this 4th round of the season. So Daniel Kirby currently on 85 points, leading Daniel Hurlock, with Johnny Gutierrez rounding out your top 3. They're covered by less than 30 points at the moment. Mike Bell, Magnus Dahlgren, and Troy Uyen round out your top 6, with Timon Suvic, Michael Locke, Cameron Barker, and John Uyen rounding out your top 10. Ben Kesby, Robin Merling, Alexander Schultz, Walter De Bruyne, Gilles Lalonde, and Alexander Saroma round out the top 16, with Luke Mitchell, Scar Pope, Tom Lane, and Daniel Scott having gotten off the board this season. Small Power Cadillac V Series R, with Bell and Hurlock, lead the way by just 10 points ahead of CMS Pro Red. SKS Motorsport Toyota, with Suvic, Schultz, and Dahlgren round out your top 3, covered by 41 points. Bad Day Racing, Gutierrez and Lalonde on 58.5 round out your top 4, with the Uons for CMS Pro Blue rounding out the top 5 ahead of Crown Dental Group, Team WEC Monsters Alpine, and British-Turkish Racing Ferrari. Then we go to the AMS. John Mayer leads the way by 15 points ahead of Antonis Papaninopoulos. I hope I got that right. That's my first attempt at that surname. Nopolis. Gilham Benker with Benjamin Porteous Heath, and George Angelidis rounding out your top 5. A big spread between the lower half of the top 5, and the top part of it. And then you see that all 16 drivers have already had points on the board this season. Akirio Mistral on 119 points, a big advantage over AM Racing Alliance, with Trash Panda Racing Toyota, HRC US Acura, and 747 Customs rounding out the AM standings in Hypercar. GT3 Pro, it's JT Tammy versus David Yunt in the battle for the title at the moment. On 101 and 85 respectively. Alan Holden, William Schlichling, James Walker, Bradley Sellers, Jamie Zalecki, Luciano Uchazo, Peter Grau, and Brian van Berzicon round out your top 10, with Dark Thunder Racing leading the way into the team standings ahead of BHR by GSR Fan Friction, Stardust Autosports Initial 3, and Team Rookie Monsters. Stephen Miller leads by 10 points ahead of Alexander McQuarrie, with Peter Meyer, Adam Gray, Eugene Mazur rounding out your top 5. Stacey Scotts, Craig Pullen, David Anderson, and Norman Graff round out your top 9. So that is the standings all done and dusted. My name's Alex Goldschmidt. Joining me in the booth today, Jim Cunningham, and behind the cameras, Mr. James Parfitt. Jim, again, a pleasure to be alongside you. Things are going to be very, very interesting here at Spa-Francorchamps.
Yes, it's a pleasure to be with you, and I am so looking forward to this race. These are my favorite cars at one of my very favorite tracks. This is going to be great action all day today for sure. Yeah, and well, we might have some words. We might as well have a little chat with Ross Smith. He does tend to hang around for NARS VWSC, which recently had its previous round at Laguna Seca. Ross, Spa, tough challenge. It's going to be all about that second and third sector, and we are going to see incredible rates of closing speed here today for 90 minutes.
Oh yeah, well your Spa, and today in particular, I think the connection points to watch are going to be Eau Rouge, as those hypercars pick up a lot of speed and they're going to want to really maintain through there. And when you get to the backside, when you're at Blanchimont, both of those two spots, you're going to have the highest rate of closing and the most potential for disaster for hypercars that try and make a dicey last minute move on, a GT3 or maybe on a slower hypercar competitor. So we'll keep an eye out for those. Hopefully everyone kind of keep their wits about them and not do something that could end in disaster as such. But it's Spa, and that's kind of what we're keeping an eye out for.
Yeah, especially with the fact that Spa always gets given different corner names at different eras. But I think we're we're going to stick with we're going to stick with No Name. We're going to stick with Ravage. We're going to stick with Puon. No double left. So don't worry, folks. We won't try and confuse you. But I think realistically, Jim, let's talk about the difference in terms of the lap times. We're going to see 20 plus seconds between the Hypercars and the LMGT3s. Especially going down the Camel Straight into Licon. That is going to be one of the biggest points where drivers are going to really have to watch themselves.
Yeah, that's going to be obviously that braking zone in there is going to be where the hypercars are going to try to make their last minute overtakes, and that definitely could cause some issues, as well as the back straight up through Blanchimont. That's going to be another similar situation. Dramatic differences in speed between those two cars, and like Ross said, the closing rate through there is going to be incredible, and all those drivers are going to have to be on a high alert right there.
Yeah, so very shortly we'll be bringing up the grid for, well, there you see they're all getting onto the server. So let's go through the 48 strong field here for round 4 of the Virtual World Sports Car Championship. Daniel Hurlock will start from pole, Dan Kirby alongside. Then it's also Smile Power Racing, CMS Pro Red, row 2 with Mike Bell and Cameron Barker. Luke Mitchell and Tom Lane, row 3. Johnny Gutierrez and John Uyen on row 4. Completing your top 10 will be the 499 Ferrari of Ben Kesby, and then the 24 Caddy of Troy Uyen. Adrian Rice and Magnus Dahlgren round out row number 6. And then we move on to row 7. Papaninopoulos, I'm going to get that surname wrong all the time today. I'm just going to call him Antonis just for good measure. Timon Civic and Jerry Chen round out row 9. John Mayer and Alexander Serema round out the top 20. That's only just under halfway through the grid. Goncalves and Scott, row 11. Angelidis and Struhal, row 12. Then we got Sean Kelly, Gilherme Benker, Matthew Buse, Gilles Lalonde rounding out row number 14. And then we come to the 2 cars that will then complete the top 30 out of 48. Icharzo and Walker, with Matthew Overton and Jamie Zalecki rounding out row number 16. Row 17, Craig Pullen and Mika Dern. Then we've got Alexander McQuarrie and Ryan Paulbert Reyes. Vasilis Katerinakis and Alan Holden rounding out row number 19. William Schlichting and Peter Meyer round out your top 20 rows. Alan Santo, Adam Gray, Stephen Miller and Eric Monnier round out the top 44 cars. Quite unusual to see a Porsche 963 right down at the back of the grid, but a difficult qualifying. David Yunt, Max Southernlap, Brian Van Berzicom and JT Tammy round out nearly 50 cars. Folks, this is going to be the roller coaster of the season, to be completely honest with you. And more to the point, so the drivers will be going round this 7.004 kilometre circuit. And more to the point, it is going to be I would probably hazard a guess here, Jim. There could be a little bit of a free-for-all in the opening couple of laps of this 90-minute encounter in the Ardennes Forest. Because who knows what might happen.
The first couple of laps here is going to be insane, I have a feeling. Just so many cars on this grid, and a ton of hypercars. It'll be really interesting to see how they get on this first lap, especially coming up to Eau Rouge and Radillon and then into Lacombe. That's going to be obviously a big pinch point.
Yep, so there are some penalties. David Yunt not able to qualify. Eric Monnier not able to qualify. Wouter de Bruyne's got to stop and go. Sean Kelly's got a drive-through for an unsafe rejoin. And then Antonis has also got the same as well. So some drivers are going to have to serve those penalties very, very early in this race. Air temperature 15 degrees Celsius. Track temperature 32. But with Spa-Francorchamps, there's always that little modicum, that little possibility, Ross. Rain could be in the air because there's no blue skies above at the moment.
No, and Spa is in particular a little bit of a trick because you're in the mountains and anything can kind of come across this way. It might be blue skies and then 5 minutes later it's going to switch over and suddenly you've got downpour. So hopefully it stays green for these guys and they can really enjoy a good shootout for this wonderful day of racing.
So we are primed and ready for the Virtual World Sports Car Championship, the 90 minutes of Spa here in the Ardennes Forest. As they come out of the bus stop, we accelerate and the drivers will bring us to green as they're going to start accelerating right now. Off we go, and Herlock gets the advantage over Kirby. Bell ahead of Barker as we head into La Source for the first time. The timing ticks down from 90 minutes. They've got to be very, very careful. We are going to see some hustle and bustle. The Aston Martin versus the Caddy going down the hill into Eau Rouge et Radiant. And now GT3s will start their race with the number 44 leading the way. This is going to be quite crucial, but then we could see very, very shortly green flag waves, and straight away Ichiazo takes the initial advantage. There is an exchange behind for third position between one of the Aston Martins and the Mercedes. As one of the Porsches, that was I think Paul Ray is going a little bit wide coming out of the source. They're now going down the hill at over 240 kilometers an hour, and a little lift coast, let the car grab the traction and get through, and then it's pedal to the metal down the Camel Straight.
Yeah, it seems like they've gotten off to a relatively clean start here. This is, I'm actually a little bit surprised. Everybody's behaving themselves on this first lap. Of course, they didn't want to commit a penalty in the first lap penalty zone.
Yeah, and that's pretty crucial. Everyone seems to have just kept it nice and calm here, Ross. Oh, bit of a twitch there from Dan Kirby coming out of Stavelot heading into Curb Paul Frere. Now we've seen him in a multitude of machinery, this man. Wherever Champion Motorsports is, you can definitely find that Dan Kirby will be there. Ben Kesby is being closed in on by Troy Uyan as they now make their way a little bit further down the circuit. But again, it's just a case that we're going to see these drivers run a little bit wide as we're seeing the opening lap being completed. Herlock leads by half a second from Kirby, Bell, Lane, Gutierrez. Then it's Cameron Barker running on board with Dan Kirby as we go down the hill. This is a great onboard here, Ross. On board with the CMS Pro Red Cadillac going through Eau Rouge et Radiant.
Yeah, and just kind of for reference, the track is still using the pre-construction layout from what we've seen take place over the last couple of years here, where they reformed Eau Rouge. So this is still a bit more dramatic version. It's not kind of stretched out. You don't have that large swath of run out kind of off to the left like we do now for kind of safety concerns. So that's going to be a big point of focus for the drivers today, is making sure that they're able to maintain their cars through that section. As their tires start to really warm up and get worn out, you're going to see that the drivers that have a little bit sketchier, I guess, a little bit more pointed setups, they might struggle a bit more through that section, and hopefully they're able to hold on to it and don't end up accidentally losing it just because they've really over-torqued their cars and they pay for it later.
Yeah, and Jim, one of the big things that these drivers really need to be careful of over these opening couple of laps, as we see the tail of the Cadillac of Daniel Herlock getting a little bit wild and trying to nearly wanting to swap ends for the number 87, who's still leading. I mean, it's about getting these tyres up to temperature. The first couple of laps are going to be the real sort of opportunity for these tyres, brakes, not just for the hypercars but also for the LMGT3s to keep carrying the speed around this track, because that's one thing you've got to do, but you just got to look after your tyres a little bit.
Yeah, the first couple of laps, especially in the hypercar, the getting the tires up to temperature is crucial. These cars have so much power, and when they're in the low downforce situation and they get on the throttle, the back end wants to step right out, and so that's been. But they're getting twitchy, but nobody's really seemed to have a big problem with it. The GT3s aren't quite as bad. They will tend to not quite take as long to get the tires up to temperature. But these GTPs require a good 2 to 3 laps to get them into the operating zone that they need them in.
So Icharzo currently still leading the LMGT3 overall classification ahead of James Walker. Matthew Overton rounds out the top 3. So Porsche versus Aston Martin, and then we got Jamie Zalecki in the Mercedes rounding out the top 4. And then we got another Porsche just behind. That's Craig Pullen in the 298 LMGT3 AM class lead. And this is one of the things I love about multi-class racing here, Ross, is that you get this wonderful depth and breadth of manufacturers like we see in the World Endurance Championship, and it's great to have that being showcased here in the Virtual World Sports Car Championship that we have, and still being very early in the season. It's going to be a case of just really gaining those points over the first half of the season before we go into the second half, where mistakes can be quite pricey.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I'm a little bit remiss to see that we don't really have many of the American manufacturers represented. No one really wanted to take on the Mustang or the Corvette today, although we do see a couple newcomers. We see, I think it was, I just lost him here. One of the Allens, Alan Santo, who's in the McLaren, so he's giving the 720S a little bit of a run there. But yeah, it's great to see that all the cars are being represented, and you're going to see that all of them have their own advantages, disadvantages. I think the Vantage, speaking of, is going to be a really strong car to have here. The 911, for those who are able to really keep it under control, that one's going to be a definite dart to have. But they're all very quick cars in the right hands and with the right setups, and it's going to be wild to see over the course of the run how they're able to take advantage of that. It looks like we might have an incident with Eric Munet.
Also, Ryan Pulbert Reyes. Here's the Champion Motorsports replay. And, well, he's gone off the circuit. That's a full off track. And he's kicked up the dust a little bit. So we are just trying to see what's happening. I think if it's happened here at Eau Rouge Radio. Oh, that's not what you want at the top of Radion. You do not want to be sideswiping the barriers like that at all.
And he bounced right back out into the lane of traffic, too. Man, that could have really been bad for several guys behind him.
I think the words I've got for this one is wince, ouch, and then crawl your way along the Kemmel Straight at a very, very slow rate of speed. So no wonder. I mean, that's going to be significant damage there for the Porsche 911 GT3R, and as we a few of us like to say, Porsche doing Porsche things there, Jim.
Yeah, that was in honor of our production manager today. That's his famous saying, although the back end didn't come all the way around. That's the typical Porsche doing Porsche things. I think he just got it wrong and had a little too much input on the wheel when he went through Eau Rouge there. This, like Ross said earlier, that version of Eau Rouge is a much tougher version than the one we're seeing on the modern track layout that we're seeing in some of these simulations. This one is a tough handle in those GT3s. The hypercars have a little more downforce, but still very tough to manage for these guys as well.
Yeah, and we're running on board with Mike Bell for Smart Power Racing in third position, running in the number 19, trying to chase down Daniel Kirby. Now we're starting to lap that. Well, there's Ryan Pulbert Reyes literally being standing still well, just being passed like he's standing still. I mean, we said about the closing rates between the Hypercars and the LMGT3s here, Ross, and now we're getting into that point. We've got another yellow ounce in Sector 3, so it's always going to be that case when you've got those cars just like really closing in. And here's another replay we're going to see. Oh no!
Oh,
but that's through a bus stop. Oh, and there's there's a bit of it's hit check, and then to me, to you, as the words go. You know, if you're going to hit me, I'll hit you back, and then we've got this. Oh dear, that was definitely nearly a clean up on aisle 3 there, going out of going completely wide. I think was that George? I think that might have been. Was that George Angelidis?
It was Moland, I believe. I don't know how he saved that. I thought for sure he was gone.
No, that was definitely one where you've got to check. You've got to be very careful going through. But yeah, that was an incredible save for the Alpine, for Team Wookie Monsters, for Robin Merling, who currently holds 10th place. So Adrian Rice, however, having a bit more luck in the Aston Martin Valkyrie, the 013, and well, he's we've got Mr. Reese and Ross Alexander Smith in the chat, so welcome along, guys. Good to have you with us. But yeah, we've got this battle here. There we go. You see, Ross, don't multitask, damn it. Don't confuse me. I'm confused enough as it is at my age. There we go.
Saying hi to the audience, that's all.
Yeah, I know. But don't do that.
Alex, just so you know, today I'm the elder who's supposed to be confused. You're the one that's supposed to have it all together.
Apparently so, but that was very close between the Adrian Rice, the Hypercar AM class leader, and Michael Locke exchanging a little bit of paint, as we saw, and they're still at it again, and that's the battle for 10th overall. So running on board with the overall race leader, Dan Herlock, in the number 87. He's 2/10 ahead of 2/10, 3/10 ahead of Kirby, and now Mike Bell is really closing in. So the top 3 at this moment here, Jim, are just starting to really pull away and have their own battle. But even though we're still just 12 minutes in out of 90, it's anyone's guess how things are going to pan out behind them.
Yeah, it is. Everybody is starting to settle in a little bit, and and just kind of get into their race groove. We definitely have seen some action back there, like you said, amongst those AM leaders. That's a little early in the race to be throwing each other around there. We got somebody off the track. Oh,
that was. Oh, it's 3 wide between the overall leaders. Whoa, Jeds, just calm it down a little bit. We know you're trying to get past the traffic, and a wobble from Kirby and Bell coming out of the bus stop, and that has brought Johnny Gutierrez in the 9X8 Evo 102. He's right with them now, and that's given the opportunity for Herlock to put a car between them. Oh, nearly a slight glance left front to right rear between Bell and Gutierrez. Now they've got to get past the Mercedes rather quickly. It is not at all surprising, as we find that Luke Mitchell in the 469 Caddy has just put in the fastest overall lap of the race, a 2017. But this is where everyone is either going to be shutting their eyes, or they're just going to keep them open, as it's round the outside at Les Combes, one of the cars, which was the 25 LMGT3 of Alan Holden, who runs that same car in the NARS Virtual Modern Sports Car Championship. And again, it's just great to see so many familiar names. I still remember, what was it? I was part of the VMO touring car side of things, and Smart Power Racing. Yeah, so I think this is going to be very hairy for all of these drivers. Here's another replay coming up, and something on lap in the Porsche. Oh, that is a hard hit going into Blanchimont. A hard hit, and that car. Well, he tried to turn left. It went right, so that steering's knackered on that car.
Yeah, that was Porsche doing Porsche things right there.
Well, now, Jim, I saw earlier, I think he had an incident. There's a bit of a tap. Yeah, I think this started some of that damage earlier on, and because I noticed he was struggling in a couple other spots during that lap, and then he just got to Blanchimont where you really need maximum downforce and car stability, and he just did not have it.
Yeah, he obviously tore the front splitter up on that car on that incident. Oh yeah, he had no front downforce on that thing at all, it looks like.
Yeah, and that thereby affects the steering as a direct consequence. So yeah, both Ryan Pulbert Reyes and Max Sunderlap have both ended up in the pits. Oh, DNF from William Schlichting in the meantime. So
that was a
dicey pass. Oh, well, that was spell on Kirby going through into Lecombe and a wiggle from the back end of the CMS Pro Red car. They're trying to filter their way through into Malmedy. They just about squeeze through. And here comes Gutierrez going into Rivage. And Kirby's just opened that door that little bit for that 9X8 Evo. And again, we're 16 minutes in, and these hypercars are being such a handful today. Kirby nearly lost it, Bell nearly lost it, and Herlock is nearly the best part of 2 seconds up the road, guys. I mean, so this is going to be William Schlichting losing it. Well, this is something lap from earlier that we've just seen in the 61, so it's the number 7 Mercedes. Oh, don't tell me. Oh, we've had one of the Porsches go around the outside. That is not how you make an overtake here at Spa. I'm sorry. That was a hard hurt.
Yeah, Oliver Day. I couldn't tell what kind of overlap that was, if it was just like, it was such a tough angle there because there's just a touch of convergence. But that's the exact spot that I was talking about where... Yeah. You have to be so careful when you're going through passes on that dog leg, especially.
Yeah, that right there was, I think he was turning into trying to make Blanchimont and the current kink through there, and he just turned in a little early. I think he thought he was clear of that Mercedes.
Yeah, so Schlichting is the first retiree, the first DNF. We've got a real shame for the number 7 Mercedes, so that brings us down to, well, we've still got over 45 cars, so yeah, Spa is definitely not being kind to a lot of people. We are seeing, I think that might be Day actually going into pit lane there. Did see just one of the cars go into pit road, so...
Well, freak action here.
Yeah.
We do have freak action.
Yep. We've and it's Ferrari versus Acura, folks. So the Ferrari 499. I'm not going to try and attempt that surname until I can actually try and muster it up again, because otherwise I'll just keep on getting it wrong. Apart from George Angelidis trying to chase him down, so we are going to see some great inter-manufacturer battles, and not too far behind is Benker in the 031 Caddy. So this is actually the battle for, I believe, that is 3rd place in. So yeah, it's 18th, 19th, 17th, 18th, and 19th overall. That's the final 3 in the top 5 in the Hypercar AMS. But yeah, Oliver Day has ended up in pit lane in the 74-963 Porsche Hypercar AM entry. But yeah, that was just at that rate of speed. It was just, you know, you're probably talking about 260, 265 that Oliver Day might have approached that corner at. And yeah, so Jamie Zalecki and David Yunt being separated in terms of hypercars just trying to get through.
They're not on a team, but I do know that they've shared some notes and setups to help each other through the AMG setups and be a little bit faster among the field. But Besekim is obviously Junt's teammate. But it's good to see some of that camaraderie. You do get a lot of that in CMS here, where they'll, if you see a lot of drivers on. Oh, George Angelius in front of these guys.
Oh, right. Well, this.
Not quite as friendly there, are they?
No. It's all out. Okay, I'm a hypercar coming through, boys. So it's just everyone's just trying to find their rhythm, and because of the fact that the hypercars hit the GT3 traffic within the first 10 minutes. I mean, Ryan Paulbert Reyes was the first one. There's now Zaleki and Yunt going into Eau Rouge Irradiant here at turns 2, 3, and 4. Yellow out in sector 3, so someone's had a bit of a drama, but still good to see that these two. I think, like you said, Ross, there has been some camaraderie. So here we go with the Champion Motorsports replay, and this is going to be Alan Holden. That was the GT3 equivalent, nearly of Kimi Raikkonen in the wet at Spa, and then but at least the good thing was he managed to hold it to the point where, okay, yes, the left rear glanced the barriers, but no harm, no foul on that one. And then we've got Adrian Rice leading the way in the Hypercar AM classification by about 13 seconds from John Mayer. So wonderful to see the Aston Martin Valkyrie being used by some of the drivers.
Looks good.
And now Gutierrez has got Mike Bell is in the pit lane. Gutierrez is right on the rear diffuser of Dan Kirby going down the hill. He's going to pull it to the left-hand side. He's got to back out of it. Good, sensible choice there from the Bad Day Racing Peugeot 9X8. And he runs completely off track coming out of Radion. And now it's going to be full speed down the Camel Straight. Ben Kesby in the British Turkish Racing Ferrari 499, making it a very, very close battle between second, third, and fourth here, Jim. And look at Herlock, the advantage he's got, 3.8 seconds and climbing.
Yeah, well, as long as Kirby and Gutierrez keep fighting like that, he's going to continue to pull away. I tell you what, we almost saw a disaster there for Gutierrez in the Peugeot. He was tucked up behind Kirby so much there going through Eau Rouge that he lost the air on his nose of his car, and that thing almost got away from him. He did a good job holding on to it there.
Yeah. Also being there's a couple of pending penalties as well. Mike Dawn with a drive-through. Also non-qualifying for Brian Van Bezikom, and Luke Mitchell had a drive-through. That's a serve. That is not how you take Campus and Stavolo, I'm afraid, and that is the Toyota. Spinning, and bang into the barriers.
I have to say,
that's a ballet move. No, I was going to say, that's a ballet move. He's pirouetting around all over the place.
Well, forget Jim Carner. On that one, that was the 720, and then bang into the barriers there for the 99. Yeah, and then it just goes completely wrong after that. Yep. I think the should be accompanying that, to be honest with you. Wouter de Bruyne in YouTube chat says, exciting race up front in hypercars. Curious how it will look after the first round of stops. Well, everyone's trying to cover each other off, and Troy Uyan. Yeah, so we're using the full length of the pit lane here. So it's you can see that we've got Kirby in the pit lane, Herlock in the pit lane, Gutierrez, Lane, Locke, Suvic, Dahlgren, and Troy Uyan has decided to go a little bit longer, and he's on the verge here, Ross, of being on that 25-minute maximum window. So I think he's going to brave it out for another lap and then just bring it in.
Yeah, I agree with Wouter in chat there, because which I'm wondering how he managed. Is he out of the race? Like, what, or is he not in? But yeah, they're gonna have this pit cycle. Dan Kirby is very good at being able to stretch out his fuel and whatnot and get in a good groove. Although now he's right behind, so Gutierrez got to jump on him. I'm kind of worried for Dan Kirby because he's not showing his best form here right now. I mean, he's still driving fairly well, but he's definitely under pressure from these all-wheel drive cars behind him. These drivers, I think, is that Mike Bell behind them? This is all on top of each other. Here we go.
Yeah, well, it is going to suddenly kick off all of a sudden after 25 minutes. Mounier, who is now the Hypercar AM class leader, has a penalty. So, yeah, this is the, Troy Uyan has a lead over Dan Herlock of 30.6 seconds, but he's yet to pit at the moment. And, well, it looks like Oliver Day has DNF'd, and so has the 720 McLaren of Alan Santo. So that is just really going to be the case of, I'm sure we'll get a replay queued up very, very shortly. Wouter de Bruyne. Yeah, so here's the replay. I'm not looking forward to seeing this. Not looking forward to seeing this at all. Oh, no. That is not how you tackle Eau Rouge et Radiant. I'm sorry. Two hypercars trying to overtake a GT3. They both swap panels, and Alan Santo gets punted from behind, and Oliver Day smacks the barriers on the pit lane exit.
Wow.
There's desperation setting with a lot of these drivers at this early stage, I have to say. There is desperation big time. So Day is out, Santo is out, and Troy Uyan is now in pit lane, which means Herlock is going to take back the advantage at the front end of the field. But Kirby really being hustled here by Gutierrez. Gutierrez is trying for the inside now on the run down to Eau Rouge et Radiant, and again he's going to have to back out of it. These guys are being sensible, as you see sparks fly from the left front of Kirby's caddy.
And every time he goes through there behind that Cadillac, he loses the air on his front nose. I get so nervous every time he goes in there like that because that car is all over the place. The Peugeot's looking strong here, though. I got a feeling he's faster than Gutierrez. I mean, than Kirby right now. I got a feeling he's being held up a little bit. I think if he can get by him, I think he might start closing that gap to Herlock a little bit.
Oh, Gutierrez has just had a wobble. So has Kirby at the same point going through. I think that was through No Name heading into Pouon. As we are just under 3 minutes away from the top of the hour, and again with the tyres that we were talking about in the strategies for the hypercar, Ross, you can see that they are on the medium compound tyre, so they'll be quicker to warm up, but they're even more unstable when you decide to swap those tyres. We've got a yellow out in sector 2, but Paparinopoulos, there we go. How was that, Mr. Parfit? I know that they can't hear James, but dear, Ichiazo.
Oh, no.
That seemed a bit uncalled for.
Yeah.
Maybe they had a conversation earlier that was...
Paparinopoulos getting spun around by the left rear. Oh, that was a proper... Please no Punterino moments at that point.
That's American football.
And they're at it again. They're at it again. But look, John Mayer's not too far behind in the Acuri Mistral Porsche 963. So Ichiazo's got another car to worry about, and it's a different hypercar, thank goodness. So
yeah, I would like to know what's going on there.
There's
probably something. Something brought that on.
There's some latent beef, I would imagine, between the pair. But we are fast approaching the conclusion of the opening third of this 90 minutes of Spa-Francorchamps here at the Virtual World Sportscar Championship. So, but Merling versus Troy Uyan, and look at the closing rate. Look at the slipstream. He's probably gathering at least a good 5 to 8 kilometers an hour at least, coming down the Kemmel Straight there, Ross, because that slipstream we know no matter what car you go in, is absolutely mighty.
Oh yeah, and for the Cadillac especially, it definitely is king on the top end. It's got a lot of horsepower for any of those long straights, which is why it's able to go so well. But yeah, they're going to take advantage on that section especially, so that way they can really get into the twisty bits and just be tucked up underneath. As we take a look at JT Tammy and David Junt right here, it looks like they're going to have a little bit of a battle as Hypercars come up on top of them.
Yeah, there's also another Mercedes just in front of them as well, which I think is Zalecki.
Mm-hmm. So interesting that they came out and they're all together. This is after. Well, I don't know if they've actually gone in for their stop yet. That should be coming up though. Very
yeah,
shortly,
they have not.
Probably in a month or so.
Yeah, they did say, what was it, 30 to 35 minutes for GT3s, obviously with the hypercars flying past. We're 1 hour to go. Herlock leads in hypercar, Rice in hypercar and Michazo in LMGT3, and Maya in LMGT3 and we've got a yellow out in Sector 3. And it's John. Oh, it's John Uyan. Let's have a look at the replay. And this is going to be at the bus stop. He's going to turn it in. Oh, over rotates and gets biffed from behind. Ouch.
I don't think that was Mane's fault necessarily.
Well,
I think that was he just had nowhere to go. Oh.
Yeah.
Well.
Oh.
Sean Kelly has gone straight off in the Cadillac. So after that contact, it start. We're definitely getting some real interesting battles. That was George Angelidis gets spun, then gets tagged. So I think what the big problem here is, Jim, it can be the fact that the hypercars are tripping up over their own shoelaces and bringing the GT3s in for the scrap in the playground.
We've certainly seen several instances of that right there. That's your that's JT Tammy and Zaleski. The Aston Martins are a little stronger today than I originally. We kind of thought that the Mercedes was going to be the car to beat here. But that's a big off track.
Careful of that wall.
Might as well just run it on out.
I mean, you can understand from Zalecki's perspective. Okay, I just need to keep away from any hypercars that come in close. As Jerry Chen closing in on George Angelidis, and this is for 4th place. And who's that behind them? That's Sarima in the number 29 X8 Evo. So this, but that's not for class position for Sarima. He's currently down in, 15th in hypercar, and more to the point, 20th overall. But it's just dependent how they just negotiate Pouon now going into Lifagne. And you can see sparks flying from the front of the Acura of Angelidis as Jerry Chen trying to close on him, but at the moment not having the greatest of success with it. It's just because we've had those first raft of pit stops for a lot of the hypercars. Pretty much all of them have been in the pit lane. We've got a yellow out in sector number 1, so someone's having a drama there. But Angelidis, I think we're seeing a few cars here, Jim, that are really scraping on the front splitter. Angelidis being one of them. You can see the sparks flying from the right front as they go through Curpol Frere and into Blanchimont at a high rate of speed.
Angelidis has been involved in a couple of little small incidents. He got spun earlier, and also he's been bumped around a couple of times. I wonder if he may have a little front aero damage there or something in the splitters, dragging in some of the higher downforce areas.
Yeah, that's quite conducive to top speed as well here, Ross, because Jim did say about the fact that we are seeing a few cars getting a bit light, especially coming out of Radion. Going down the hill, which we're going to see now as Sarima trying to force his way past Jerry Chen. Don't try and do it there. And Jerry Chen gets all 4 wheels in the air trying to get past Angelidis. This is going to be a fight. Oh, there's a clash between the pair going on to the Kemmel Straight at over 250 clicks. And Sarima's going to get the slipstream that he needed and splits the warring Hypercar Am duo of Angelidis and Shen very, very quickly.
That was entertaining. That was rough. I'm not sure how they pulled that off.
I'm not sure why he was trying to force that move on Jerry as much as he was. I mean, I think Jerry was trying to keep him behind just so that way this situation wouldn't happen where he'd get between the fight with George and whatnot. But, you know, I would have thought maybe he'd let him go so that way he could harass George and cause a little bit of an opening to get a pass on him. But I don't know, maybe Jerry just didn't like how he was trying to take advantage of that position and sort of close the door on him. That was odd.
Yeah, we're going through Lefane at the moment, and Angelidis still leading this this trio of hypercars as they're getting through on the 44 Porsche. That's Adam Gray from GT3 AM. But yeah, I think the tactics of Alexander Saraima there on Jerry Chen left a little bit to be desired, and Saraima's trying around the outside at Blanchimont. Oh, I nearly had to take a sharp intake of breath there. Saraima is so desperate to get through, and he spun it at the bus stop. Oh, he was so lucky he did not get tagged by Jerry Chen. Very lucky indeed. As Overton picks up a penalty in GT3, but Saraima now. Oh well, I think Angelidis has said to him, "Hey, stop what you're doing. Look, like this. This is not how we do here." And now we've got Craig Bullen. Oh, and that's the 298 Porsche. Oh dearie me, hypercars and GT3s. They just seem to be magnetised to each other here. So Craig Pullen gets absolutely clobbered by the hypercar that comes barreling through, that kicks up the grass as well at the same time. No, that's... Oh, we've got more drama coming up the hill. Oh, and that is going to be Craig Pullen again. He's backwards. And, well, there's yellow flags. He waits. So good spatial awareness there from Craig Pullen. He's now holding his brakes. He's now going to spin the car around. Oh, whoa!
That was so close.
I've got no words. I have no words.
It looked, I mean, he did exactly what he needed to do. He kept the car off the track when he spun it around, but it sure looked a lot more dangerous than it was.
I think anyone's underpants would have been filled by that point, to be completely honest with you, especially Craig Pullen, who had I think that was one of the Cadillacs that had just gone. Yep. There's a GT3 at the top of the hill. Keep right. You know, it'd be like
pit stops are starting here.
Yeah, so lucky it wasn't over more. Oh, that looks like it might have.
No.
That's a no for sure.
I think we've lost count of the amount of no-nos that's happened so far in the first.
There's been
quite a few.
Several frustration situations. You know, boy, Spa's really bringing the tensions out.
Well, Jim.
Yeah, I think so. I think it might be something in the local virtual Belgian water here at the moment that's just let everyone off the leash and cry havoc and let slip the dogs of war, so to speak.
Apparently, that full moon that's out this time of the time of the month over there is really stirring these werewolves up over here. I don't know what is going on.
I know. We've now got Timon Suvic in the SKS Motorsport Toyota, battling away with Smart Power Racing's Luke Mitchell. That is for 13th and 14th in the hypercar class. Adrian Rice in the Aston Martin Valkyrie is actually ahead of them by about 1.1 seconds. So Luke Mitchell trying to close in on the hypercar AM class leader as they go through at Blanchimont at a big rate of speed. That's 185 miles an hour. As they're just trying to get around the Mercedes that has just decided to duck into the pit lane. I mean, Ross, it has been like a playground here, hasn't it? A kindergarten. That's exactly what it's reminding of. That everyone's just wanting to get, like 5, 6 years of age. They're all trying to go, yeah, let's have a bit of a dust up, and just like the toys have been royally thrown out the pram in both classes. I don't know what's going on today. I really don't.
Well, you're right. It is a little bit over, and there are a few who are a little bit too aggressive. Like
Luke Mitchell. Luke Mitchell is going to lose it.
Oh,
he's going straight on at the gum. Luke Mitchell. Oh my giddy on. Has anyone got a dark room for me to lie on? I need me tablets. Right about now. But Luke Mitchell,
look at this.
He loses the back end, keeps the throttle pinned, spanks the barrier on the left-hand side.
Oh my God.
Unbelievable.
He just didn't even, he never lifted. Please tell me that he had some kind of throttle issue or something. But then he gets it back under full control, just like nothing happened there.
And he's going to throw it around of all the places, throw it around the outside of the first part of Le Fagnes. I think for sheer bravado points, Luke Mitchell gets a 9.85 in my book for that one.
I mean, he didn't lift. I'll give him that.
I think he was like thinking, get it done, get it done, just like literally hammer down and just go for it.
There's something that was actually quite awesome about that. Also unbelievable, but still pretty cool.
Yeah, pretty cool. But I mean, if you want to ride shotgun, don't do it with Luke Mitchell. Believe you me, like literally. That was one of the wildest moments we've had so far, and we're still 49 minutes until the checkered, folks. So,
talk about clean up on aisle 4. Shotgun in that car would have got
look
at this.
Gutierrez, and that's on the 31. Oh, there's more drama. Ben Kesby.
What is going on?
Everyone's not. It's like everyone's been for a night out. They've had the they've had the kebab and chips from the local takeaway. They got in at 3 in the morning. They're still feeling the after effects of the night before.
No, this is like they're driving after leaving the pub at 3 in the morning.
Yeah, I know. Well, Ben Kesby just had a clash with the 44. I think that was Craig Pullen. As again, it's. Deary me. Sean Kelly in the 52.
Tame by comparison for
some of the action. A
lot of winger classes.
Oh, dearie me.
Kesby's had trouble again? Let's see.
Oh, dear. No, don't. Oh,
no.
Oh, spins it.
Hold on.
540. Holding the brakes, engage reverse, and manages to spin up the rear 11's style through the gravel. God dearie me. Oh, here's Dan Scott in the Alpine at the bus stop. A little bit of over rotation there. Manages to get it.
Very easy.
Oh dearie me. I don't know. This is. It's like everyone has broken every eggshell in the egg basket today.
I don't know. What was he doing there? He just decided to stop right in the middle of the bus stop.
I will say that angle's a little bit tricky. Sometimes you might be seeing something happening over to your right, and it can really throw off your timing. Your drivers are especially going to be playing with that brake bias coming in there because you really want to maximize it to get that rotation in. It's a tricky corner. You're a little bit odd with the camber change, it's odd because it's kind of going uphill, it's sharp off to the right, so it's very easy as you're leading off a ton of speed to suddenly have a little bit of a snap and have to catch it. So we're seeing that because you're getting a lot of drivers that are coming almost to a stop effectively.
Yes.
They're going to kick that back end out, and the added complication is that you're going to see a lot of changes between GTs and hypercars. GTs can outbrake them by so much more.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Robin Merling throwing it wide, and that was on the 23 Aston of Alexander McQuarrie. Yeah.
Yeah, you're 100% right there, Ross. Though that's that is such an easy place to do that in, especially in these. If you don't adjust the brake bias right there, it can really kick that rear end around on you going into the bus stop.
There's no lull period here, folks. I can guarantee you that much. We're halfway through. And Dan Herlock is the one that's weathered the storm better than anybody else. Mike Bell has just come in for what will be his second pit stop. Oh, and that was, I think, Adrian Rice having a bit of a wobble coming out of Stavlo. And he's got Timon Suvic in the Toyota GR010 right on his rear diffuser going through into Blanchimont at over 290 kilometers an hour. It's just crazy. Now, bearing in mind, folks, this is not a battle for class position. It's a battle for overall position, but I think Adrian will probably do himself justice by just saying to Timon, okay, you're in the pro class, I'm in the AM class, I'll just let you fly on by. And sometimes that's the better thing to do, discretion being the better part of valor, and especially playing to your strategy. We talked about sectors 2 and 3, and that's where all the madness has pretty much happened. Oh, and now, who was that's just come out of pit lane that's just spun it?
I think that was Troy Uyan. I think he caught Craig Pullen on the uphill at Eau Rouge. I think he lost it into Troy Uyan as he was coming up to him. I'm not sure. Oh, yeah, this will show it here.
No. Troy Uyan and Craig Pullen. Craig Pullen has been the most assaulted GT3 driver so far. He just loses it, bang, after being hit again. I'm wondering if it's a bit like Days of Thunder. And there we go. There was it was car number 3. Yeah, Days of Thunder. We said, I just want you to go out there and hit the pace car. Well, you've hit every panel on this car. I want to make sure that you're perfect.
Yeah, when he kicked the
That's exactly what's happening with Craig Pullen, but he's getting punted rather than doing the punting, so to speak.
Oh my goodness!
I think that was a little bit of a racing incident because as you saw it, he just started to shift weight as he was coming up, and fortunately Troy just happened to be there trying to take the overtake as he was overcorrecting, and yeah, just total racing incident. Very unfortunate for both of them, and it's going to show that that's going to happen a lot through this race. We're down to 42 minutes left to go, and so a little bit around halfway here, and it's not over. It's not going to end. This chaos is going to keep going.
And Craig Pullen is the latest casualty. He's now DNF'd. I'm not at all surprised. After the amount of hits that he's had, probably in the last 15 minutes, at least.
I mean,
but yeah,
he's worse than he's worse than a boxer in there with Mike Tyson in his early days, man. He's just getting hit all over the place.
Well, you know what? All I'm going to say, it's like Mike Tyson versus Frank Bruno back in the day. If anyone might remember that one. Yeah. So like literally, it was Mike Tyson assaulting Frank Bruno in a squared circle and getting the job done very, very quickly. So we're going to have a look at the replay here. This is.
Oh, this is not going to end well.
No. Oh. There's more undulations than a roller coaster ride going through that part of the Kemmel Straight on the grass. But so just waiting. Odd. Yeah, I mean it's like literally is.
I tell you what.
Oh, yeah,
I tell you what, he was
wrong.
They might have been paying him extra to just mow the lawn over there. Keep it
now, did you guys? Did you notice that when he lit up the rear tires trying to go out of pit lane, the car actually veered without having? So there's been an incident in front. So there was that incident there. Didn't quite catch which cars those were. Gilhelm Benker in the 31. Is that who we've got here on screen, I think?
That's odd.
Well,
Yeah,
the car,
he
started to accelerate, so I think the steering's gone on that car because he accelerated from his marks in the pit lane. Look, there's hard. Yeah. It's possibly steering wheel or direct drive that might have given up the ghost a little bit there, and that's not what you want. So, Gilhelm becomes our 5th retiree out of 48 cars, still over 40 plus. Circulating as we hit 40.5 minutes to go. There's Carl Strahal ahead of George Angelidis in the battle for 6th and 7th and everything.
Here
we go.
Oh, okay.
So Dan Kirby
We're
returns
have
to
an
favor.
unsafe entry there. Yeah, so these hypercars are starting to make their second pit stops now, which should take them to the end, or it's going to be close if they're pitting right now. 40 minutes is a long run for them.
No, it's 2x, so they'll have to come in one more time.
Okay.
Yeah.
At least.
Yeah, so probably with about 10 to 15 minutes to go, depending on how much trouble they get themselves into or how much fuel they're able to save amidst the drama. So, yeah, I mean, it now goes to Herlock being the leader in that. So it's just been really, really close all race long. But Herlock at the moment is just really manhandling this race, kicking and screaming by the collar, and no one's able to touch him. So the top 2 in Hypercar AM have now pitted. So we're going to see a bit more of a change in the AM class category at the moment. Adrian Rice has already done 2 pit stops as Ben Kesby, back end of that Ferrari 499 for British Turkish Racing, has seen better days, as long as it doesn't see the side of a barrier like we saw earlier on, going out of Malmedy down into Rivage. So again, it's now at that point where you've got to focus, I think, Jim, Ross, trying to get that car home.
From what we've seen so far, that seems to be the least of these people's worry. Ross, I got a quick question for you. Is there any chance that one of these hypercars could have saved enough fuel to only have to pit one more time and somehow make it? Is that possible, or the way the fuel system is set up here, it is impossible to do that on a 2-stopper?
Oh, well, so let's see. I'm trying to think of the stint versus stops, but they're going to have to do 3. It's at 2x, so they can go about 20 to maybe 24 minutes, depending on how much they're able to save. If they're able to get slipstream, if they're able to do a lot of lift and coast. But little angry flash of lights there from Kesby. He's not having the greatest race after he's been kind of shoved off, although he's had a couple incidents that might have been, a little bit of his own aggression, but yeah, they can do one more. I think that they're trying to stretch it out so that way they could come into this last stint and be able to stay in their top power mode and not have to worry about fuel, not have to worry about maybe getting a last splash and dash.
Molling's off.
Bit of a hip check.
Yeah, that was Kesby firing it through on the inside of Lecom on Merling. So, and Kesby's now... don't try and put it around the outside at Rivage, please. The out there's YouTube chat. I'm going to put this in the best politically correct way. If you're not making someone soil their pants with a rejoin, it's not a rejoin. That's probably the statement of the race so far, to be completely honest with you. Laughter aside, I think it's just the case that we've had so many code browns in this race, and we're not done yet, folks. We're not done yet with the amount of action that's been happening. We've had no respite from the amount of contretemps between drivers, whether it be Hypercar and GT3, or Hypercar versus Hypercar, or GT3 versus GT3. It just has been so manic around the circuit. I think the drivers will be breathing a big old sigh of relief when they see that checkered flag.
This has been so, like, you look at the racecraft here, some of the stuff they're doing, and you're like, why? But yet, on the other hand, it's so exciting. I mean, there's a lot of these endurance races that through that little middle stretch there, it'll kind of lull out a little bit. There's been no lull here, that's for sure. I'm looking here at Adrian Rice. Now he's back in the lead after most of the guys have made their pit stops in the AM category. He and Daniel Herlock have, relatively speaking, have had a completely uneventful race compared to most people. They're just out there taking care of business.
Well, it looks like second, third, and fourth overall in Hypercar is already heated up because Kirby versus Bell versus Gutierrez, ding ding, round 15, I think has just started. They're covered by about a second at the moment as Kesby and Merlin gets a wiggle coming out of Radial and saves it. And, who's behind them? That is that? I don't know who that is. That's one of the Peugeots. Oh my goodness, Michael Lock. Yeah. And Merlin round the outside of Kesby. Could Michael Lock take a bit of advantage of this and get through on the pair? Merlin gets a little bit of a wiggle through the second half into Malmedy. And, well, Kesby gets through for P6. So, again, it's just that case. These hypercars just seem so on edge at the moment. It's as soon as they have that pit stop cycle, the first 5 minutes is like running on an ice rink with just trainers rather than using the actual ice skates you're told to take. Everyone is just absolutely giving full caution, no caution to the wind whatsoever, giving it more than everything, and just chaos has been the direct domino rally effect as a consequence.
Yeah, and if you're talking the just the cars themselves and nothing to do with any of the overtakes or some of the the bang bang action we've been seeing, they are kind of a bit compromised position, especially those who haven't changed their tires out to try and get better track position. I think honestly you would want those tires as much as you can get them because Spa tends to use them up. It's fairly frictious track, so you get a lot of wear here, and you really want to have that grip, especially through this spot at Eau Rouge and some of the other sort of middle portions of the track where you have a lot of turning that you need to be able to hold on to it. But anyone who hasn't taken tires, I mean, you're really rolling the dice because the tires will fall off if you haven't done any kind of strategy potential with maybe using the hards to have those last longer. You might be shooting yourselves in the foot, but I'm curious to see how this all kind of comes to a head here as it's about to get dicey with some of this lap traffic.
I'm having to shut my eyes at points. I really
we've got
to be honest with you.
We've got Kirby and Bell right here, both on old tires, and so yeah, they're getting after each other right now. And got a Peugeot in front of them, but I'm not sure who that is.
Lalonde, Joe Lalonde, he's lapped down, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he's currently down in 19th overall. I mean, the leaders have lapped up to Timon Suvic, who's about, I'd say, 15 seconds away from being lapped. So Kirby and Bell still engaging in their battle for P2 overall at the moment. Melling and Locke and Kesby are still really going for it. This is the battle for 6th, 7th and 8th in the hypercar class, so there's no quarter at all being given. And Wouter de Bruyne says the Alpine was also very loose at Imola once the tyres started to wear. So probably when we get to this final set of pit stops here, Ross, it depends on whether some drivers have decided to do the double stint and then go for a fresh set for the final stint going to the checkered, because this is such an abrasive circuit, and especially with the forces that are going through the sidewalls of the tyres, they're absolutely screaming and begging for mercy just to be changed.
Oh yeah, and I think actually Luke Mitchell might have, which is why he's kind of further back behind him, but he's closing on this group of three right here. And I'm kind of keeping an eye on Mulling. Something about that Alpine, it seems to really slick up. I don't know if it's the way that he and Wouter have set those cars, or if it's just their general driving style, or if the car just gets this way. But it always seems like they're just a little bit more slippery than any of the other, at least rear-wheel drive cars, and a little bit tricky there with Stephen Miller. But yeah, I'm just kind of keeping an eye on that, especially as he takes an attack on Kesby, who's compromised. And now he's slipping by.
Yeah, but what is Kesby going to do in response to it is the big question, because he's between a rock and a hard place as Michael Locke goes sideways. Loses the back end of the Crown Dental Group Peugeot 9X8 Evo through into the first part of Le Combe. And at the moment, well, they're in the just by the timing tower. Herlock is leading in Hypercar, Rice in Hypercar Am, Walker in GT3, and Meyer rounding out the leaders in the GT3 Am classification. And yeah, this is really, really crucial what happens in the next just over 30 minutes. We're nearly 2/3 of the way through this race. Yellow out in sector number 1, and of course, Jim, the fact that we're at a really, really fast track where everyone, including the hypercar drivers and the GT3 drivers, no one's been given really any kind of respite. They've been flat out and then some for nearly an hour, so there's going to be a lot of mental fatigue that can come into play in the latter third of the race.
Yes, and that's absolutely true, and especially when, as you see right here, when these cars are riding on that knife edge like that, when you're driving a car that's right on the edge like that all the time, that is so taxing on your physically and mentally. You know, it's that's so tough. Look at this; they are all over each other.
Now, is that Luke Mitchell? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Luke Mitchell has always had a tag from Locke coming out of the final chicane. So yeah, that was right front to left rear going through the entrance of the bus stop, and now it's a four-way scrap. This quartet here battling over 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th, as Kesby has got the slipstream down from La Source going into Eau Rouge et Radiant with just under 30 minutes on the timer. We are nearly at that point where we're going to see the final run of pit stops for the hypercar class. And yeah, again, Kesby just trying to get that slingshot at the moment here. And Kesby, is he going to find the way through? Not quite, because they've got a couple of GT3 cars in front of them. And now
this
Luke
is
Mitchell.
Stack them up.
No, this is going to be like stacking them up like bowling pins in the alley at the moment. And they are just about making it through. They've got through by the Porsche.
You had to say bowling pins.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
right.
But look, Kesby's going to fire it through at no name, and it's side by side. The Aston gets in the way of the Alpine, and Luke Mitchell tries to switch to the outside. Merlin covers it off. Now into Pouon.
That was a nice move by Kesby right there.
Yeah.
He played that traffic well. He set that move up. That was an extremely nice pass right there.
Watch that purple car in the background. Tom Lane is starting to close in on this group as they're scrapping.
Well, that could make it a 5-way scrap for 6th place. And yeah, it's just in the back of shot there. So, but now Ben Kesby using the power of the 499P Ferrari, getting away from Robin Merling, who's got Luke Mitchell in the Caddy V series closing in. Now they're going to go through Coeur Frere and into Blanchimont at a high rate of speed, nearly 300 kph. 180 miles an hour. And then, and Alan Holden nearly gets caught up. And he's just bumped over the sausage curb. And out of the 4 of them, Michael Locke was the cleanest coming out of the bus stop. Just making sure to hit his marks a bit.
I wonder if Michael Locke might have suffered a little bit of front end damage there when he got into the back of Mitchell earlier, lap before. He seems to have just lost his edge. He was right up on the back of him, and oh my goodness! Oh my, Bolin, what a save though, man! Golly, that car was sideways.
Well, at the moment, they're going to be all over him now, though.
Yeah, Mitchell just the thing is,
yeah, it's just crazy how they are just keeping those cars on the back stuff.
I think Mitchell reacted to Moling and lifted, and I think Locke just kept his foot in it and slid right by him there, took advantage of that situation.
Yeah, Yunt and Walker have just pitted in LMGT3, which means that JT Tammy leads the way by about 16 seconds from Micah Dern in the number 95 Porsche. And Icharzo, who has had his fair share of beef with not just GT3s, but I think more predominantly hypercars here today, rounds out the top 3 at the moment. But this has been a very captivating battle. David Yunt now for the BHR fan friction. Mercedes now comes out of pit lane. And he's going to...
He was fighting real hard with JT Tammy just a bit ago. They were tooth and nail.
Yeah, they were pretty close to each other, but David just decided, well, you know what, I'm going to pit now. So he will have fuel to the end of the race. We've got just under 26 minutes to go. Mitchell and Locke again at loggerheads, and Mitchell just able to carry that speed around. But then, well, there is Tom Lane. Tom Lane has now caught them. So this is Alpine versus Cadillac versus Peugeot versus Aston Martin. All I'm going to say is this could be getting a little bit crazy before we know it. Yeah, I mean, like
I tell you what,
it's like
there's
the Rocky
enough...
Bell. Like one more round is ringing in my head again. But 25 minutes to go.
It's funny, I heard that same bell. Oh my gosh!
Look at the air that Tom Lane. It was like he engaged turbo boost going through into
He's
into
flying
Radion
right now
there.
too.
Yeah,
He has got a slingshot rolling right there. Couldn't quite get there though.
Nothing like a good old naturally aspirated V12 to power a hypercar along.
I agree. I tell you what, I have not driven the Valkyrie yet, but I want to so bad.
Yeah, seems like Gutierrez has been hitting trouble as well. So a lot of drivers are just really having to. They're going to have to start treading on those eggshells very, very carefully now. But the way this race has gone, gents, it's been anything but safe. As Tom Lane has... Oh, now that was... Which Mercedes was that just went past and off the track?
Way off. Yeah, I'm not sure who that was.
Hadaranakis, I thought I saw earlier, but...
Yeah,
he just shot off there.
Yeah, just exit stage right and on the runoff area as Tom Lane now challenging the Peugeot of Micah Locke coming out of Stavelot and the run through curb Paul Frere. Tom Lane.
This is not going to go well.
Tom Lane's diving up he's going to try up the inside at Blanchimont. He's going to give it a shot. He's going to give it a try. Locke runs wide. Lane to the outside here into the bus stop. And it can be done in a hypercar. And Lane round the outside.
He did it.
He's got the move. He's got the move. But Locke's going to come straight back at him coming out of the bus stop. And Tom Lane, great work there. Outside to inside on the bus stop. Micah Locke drops down to 10th. Great work there by the Aston Martin.
Yeah, that was a nice move. That was a textbook pass in that part of the track right there. That was very nice.
Well, at least from this perspective, we know that Tom Lane is on the hunt here, Ross, because he's, even though he's probably caught air,
he's
going through
flying right
Radion.
here.
Yep, it's like Tom Lane, you are cleared for takeoff at Camel.
Yeah, he's
like
going for it.
The amount of times we've seen the noses of these hypercars just literally go skyward. You could just see how hard Tom Lane is pushing that Aston Martin. And Merling's had a moment. I think, and he's dropped back. Now they've got
Mercedes.
Yeah, the Mercedes. They're just getting through on at the moment, but
all right.
I think that was Merling that just had a moment in the Alpine, or no? He's a little bit further up. No, it's the other. Yeah. So
it was his teammate, I believe. Yeah.
So, yeah, that's just
Daniel Scott.
There we go. Right. So Daniel Scott, that was the other Alpine, the teammate of Robin Merling, who's got Smile Power Racing's Luke Mitchell over him like a bad rash at the minute. And they've got one of the Cadillacs just in front. Careful, guys, at 300 kilometers an hour. You do not want to be taking risks. But Merling is going to... Oh, he's trying to go through. And he's run wide. That's going to open the door for Mitchell. Mitchell's gone to the outside. 3 wide into the Mustang chicane.
Oh,
They
no.
clatter into each other. Carbon flying everywhere. Mitchell goes around.
Oh my
Oh, that
God.
was never going to work. Yeah,
No,
you could see that
man.
coming. And Sean Kelly's right there.
It's not
and now
over
Tom
yet.
Lane caught it.
Luke Mitchell peels into pit lane. But look, it's
I don't know how
the
Molding survived this.
pinballing. It's the pinballing of the caddy that was stuck in the middle. Merling went to the inside, Mitchell to the outside, and Tom Lane gets caught
hits
up.
him.
Oh, and then tagged
And then
the
Lane-
Alpine, yeah.
Yeah. Well, the Cadillac jumped it right into the pit road there, it looks like.
Yeah, that was Luke. Yeah. Oh,
Yep.
Tom Lane just...
Now he's going to spin it. Watch this. He's going to loop it. Oh, he gets... Oh! Bowling again, yeah. Poor Mike. But I'll tell you what, Molling's cars had more beef with people tonight. It's like being in a Texas steakhouse.
Wow.
dear.
Yeah, that was never going to work. You could see it coming for how much that they were coming up around Blanchimont. And like I said, that's such a dangerous area. He got him run wide, and neither one of them wanted to back off around Sean Kelly. And it's so hard to tell where your car is positioned once you're alongside somebody going that fast. There's still carbon fiber all over the road there.
Man,
Yeah,
I'll tell you what,
possibility.
I would not want to be stewarding this after the race. There's going to be so many penalties. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's just all I'm going to say is the penalties for the next round are going to be substantial when we go to Qatar on May 17th, guaranteed. But with that carbon still on the track, just on the entrance into the bus stop, as Angelidis dives into pit lane, so Goncalves will take 4th spot as we are into the final round of pit stops for our hypercar contingent. So yeah, Barker and Kesby now in pit lane. Luke Mitchell now behind John Uyan for CMS Pro Blue. They're still trying to make their way through some of the traffic, but just like that moment with 3 wide hypercars, and it's again, it's just like it was inevitable that kind of situation was going to rear its ugly head into the picture. And of all the places, drivers going for moves in at Blanchimont, it was the sense of desperation rather than the sense of urgency on that one.
But why desperation? We're still 20 minutes left in this race at the time that happened. Why? And you're all running nose to tail. I mean, I don't, it confuses me so bad why you would think that that's the time and place to do that. I don't understand.
Well, yeah, it's going to be a big pile that the stewards, I'm sure, are going to have to go through coming out of this one. And 20 minutes, honestly, is not that much time to be able to make a move, because you do want to get some track position. And I mean, they're going to be coming into some of those pit stops here shortly, but you don't want to do that. This isn't the way you do it. I mean, we've seen some good passes. We've seen some close ones. Some of the ones where, like Kesby and Michael Locke were battling through there, and like they were able to stay off of each other without any issue. And you want to see more of that, and not some of these big clod hoppers that they just keep having. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, even the occasional hip check to make a pass, that's different. But to send it 3 wide through Blanchimont right there, I mean, that's just never going to work. That doesn't work in little tiny Formula V cars. It's certainly not going to work in these big giant hypercars.
True. Katsourakis goes a little bit wide through Pouhon, but just to keep out of the way. I think the stewards team for this event will have more paperwork on their desk than Adrian Newey normally does at the Aston Martin facility just outside of Silverstone. And he has a big stack of paperwork normally on his desk anyway. But yeah, I think it's like I think there's going to be a lot, as you rightly said, guys, from the pair of you, that there is going to be a long list of drivers who will be in the sin bin at least for more than just possibly drive-throughs. Gobby stop goes, I think, handed out. It just has been very, very much a mad race here at Spa. We're going to have another replay. This is... Oh, Johnny Gutierrez. Oh, that's a hard... well...
I mean, eight tires are better than 4 for slowing it up.
Yeah, true.
Oh,
Wow.
2 into 1 never goes well, especially at La Source, and Johnny Gutierrez just proved that point. Oh man,
that had to damage Gutierrez's nose, though.
Yeah, I mean he's losing big time behind Kirby. I mean, like the opening sector, he's lost probably the best part of 6 tenths to Kirby. And in Sector 2, well, he's lost 1.2 seconds. So that car is now a wounded French line at the moment, I'm afraid. Herlock has just come in for what is going to be his final pit stop. So he's leaving it until... Maya and Goncalves, they're battling for the last podium position in Hypercar AM. So it's the Peugeot versus the Porsche. Both seem to be very, very calm at the moment, but we know what normally happens with calm. There is the storm afterwards, but Goncalves, I have to say, normally there is the calm before the storm, but at the moment, well, Goncalves keeping it nicely under control here. Loving the retro livery on that 9X8. Reminds me of the Peugeot liveries from the 1990s, and now he's going to get a full head of steam behind the Porsche 963 as one of the Cadillacs comes out of pit lane. Goncalves pulls to the right-hand side of John Mayer. This could be the move completed by the time we get to Le Combe. Goncalves is through.
Yeah, these guys have... This is a nice battle right here that we have not talked about these guys too much at all tonight. You know, they seem to have kept their nose relatively clean, and that was a good clean pass right there.
Herlock behind him, our leader of the race.
Yeah.
Did he get into that Porsche?
Oh dear, what?
Oh, that's a Mercedes.
Vantage.
Hang on, that's Herlock.
Oh, it is a Vantage.
That is Herlock, our overall race leader. He's 19.2 seconds up the road from Dan Kirby in P2. So Small Power Racing, well, Herlock has pretty much kept his nose clean the whole race. So he's done it was a case of just keeping yourself out of trouble, just running your own race, and that's exactly what Dan Herlock has done in the number 87. Oh, right. It's the two of the GT3 battlers, so James Walker and David Yunt. They are about 5.5 seconds behind JT Tammy, who continues to lead the way in the LMGT3 classification with 13 minutes and 20 still to go. And that's a Dark Thunder 1-2. So the Aston Martins leading Mercedes. And yeah, David Yunt might be able to have the opportunity, if he can, to close that gap. But I think, Jim, it was you, or I think it was you, Ross, that was saying that the Aston Martins have been looking really, really strong here in the GT3s here at Spa today.
Yeah, I had said that. I said that earlier, only because in the information that we got going into the race, the Aston Martin really wasn't mentioned as one of the stronger cars today here, and it's honestly done very, very well. I mean, first and second right now. It's strong. I didn't expect it to be that. I was looking for more of this Mercedes power, especially here.
Well, I've just seen that Icharzo's dropping down the order. He's currently down into 6th place. Oh dear. Luciano Icharzo has been in the wars again. So Porsche doing Porsche things. Here comes the replay. And
this doesn't look good at all.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Oh my gosh.
Angelidis too.
And George has got three. George Angelidis has got 3 wheels on that wagon. The right front's escaped. So we're going to have a look. This is coming out of Pouon, and you've got the Porsche in the middle. Bang, and that's that was Icharzo in the middle. and George comes pinballing and spinning, and Ichazo on his side. So it's going to be the squeeze. Oh!
And wow.
He was the faster car. He was the faster car.
Yeah, that's
No.
I think that's one you got to watch from a couple different angles to see, because he was alongside him. He had the other Porsche next to him, and I think it might have been some awareness of where things were. And I think George actually ended up making contact with Eric Moynet when he backed up to try and point it straight again. I kind of caught the back end of that, but
yeah. Well, there has been a
very
change in
messy.
GT3 because David Yunt has got through on James Walker, so it's a 1-3 for Dark Thunder Racing. So the two main protagonists in GT3 overall are now 1-2 respectively. So Tammy leads from Yunt from Walker. Micah Dern and Jamie Zalecki ran out your top fivers again, and that's one of the Alpines trying to get through Yellow Mountain Sector 2. We're now seeing this tiredness come into play. There are just we've had mistakes being made when people have just gotten very, very eager or over eager, let's say, to make moves stick. But and that is another car that is off at Blanchimont backwards, right-hand side, clattering into the barriers. And that is another GT3 car that has just had a big old drama, has just been caught out on possibly a side swipe here. So we've got one here. That's the 52. Oh, watch the rejoin. Oh,
close in front of Zalecki.
Oh, that was really close for Carl Strahal there. And yeah, it's I think the race.
Oh, here it is.
So this is going to be the Alpine going through. So was that possibly Ryan Paulbert Reyes, maybe?
I know. I think it was Adam Gray who got clipped by Moling going through Blanchimont, right on the exit. It looked like there was.
He's gonna. Well.
Yeah. Here we go.
Oh dear! No! Blue flags, yes. That no, and it is the 44. So I don't know.
It's hard to tell.
I think Moline thought he was just clear of him and only just touched right at the rear quarter panel on the very exit there.
Well, let's ride on board. Well, let's see. The Team Wiki Monsters car gets through on one Porsche and now accelerates to full velocity. And this is at Blanchimont. He's on the brakes. Yeah, he does. He hits the right rear. Hits the right rear of Gray.
He's in the margins at that point too. That GT is going to push out all day long, as is the hypercar. I mean, you can see right there.
He's lost it. He's rolled. Mullings rolled it.
How is he still going?
He's been all race long. He's been in incident after incident, and he just keeps going.
I think that's his race done. That would be terminal damage. So,
oh no, who we got?
Well, there were two incidents there. So 2 separate incidents, which means change for. Now there was a caddy. There was a caddy that went over as well. So this is the moment where Robin Merling found the barriers and went skywards. Very much reminiscent of. Oh, okay, right. So looks like it's involving Luke Mitchell. Oh no! Barrel rolling from the caddy, and Luke Mitchell goes to the other side of the circuit. They tangled at high speed. John Uyan goes rolling.
Man,
What was that?
we just rolled 2 hypercars in about 30 seconds.
Oh, well, yeah, but Luke Mitchell, did he still have his throttle? He might have had his throttle still full in.
I think he did.
Oh my goodness. And this is coming out of campus going into Savlo. And that's the moment when the caddy goes rolling.
I think he was aggravated. I think he was aggravated because he thought his nose got cut off, and he just kept his foot in the throttle.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, see, he chops down across his nose, and I think it made him mad, and he just kept his foot in it.
Okay, well, there's the first bit of contact. And there's the second impact from Luke. Left front on right rear. And, yeah. Look, like literally, he is not letting this go. Like you said, there was some genuine beef there, Jim.
Oh yeah, he was mad. He felt like he got chopped off, and he kept his foot in it.
Like literally, look, it's like a battering ram.
That'll be hard to defend.
That has not.
I mean, I would like to see.
All I'm going to say on this is the judge will probably say guilty on multiple counts of rolling assault. Here,
I want to see the inside footage from this Cadillac to see if he kept his wheel cranked over after that initial first contact. Look, see, he kept his wheel turned until he got smashed.
Yeah. I mean, he might have just tried to keep the keep the car in terra firma before it went rolling, and unfortunately, that was all she wrote on that one.
I was trying to give Luke Mitchell. I was trying to give him a little help there, but it didn't work.
No. I think. Oh no! Is that Adrian Rice that's been turned around? They've got into it.
What is going on today?
Guys!
Under 5 minutes to go, and it's just bedlam.
Oh, it's like it's become the sports car demolition derby at Spa Special today, folks.
Oh my gosh. There's going to be a lot of parts, souvenirs laying around the track for people to pick up today. Look at this. Yes, it is.
Facebook Marketplace will be pinging like a good one. Oh, man. Amazon, eBay, Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah, this will be all over eBay.
Oh, dear. 4 minutes to go, and the madness still continues here at Spa. The out there has just put one word in chat: classic. Well, I think I can add a non-PC word that begins with C and ends in K, and there's something in the middle. I'm not going to mention it on the broadcast though, because that's not what we do here. But look, you can still see the remnants of John Ian's car, the carbon that literally was flung from the vehicle when it started rolling. But I think Adrian,
that incident though is exactly sums up this entire race. People getting aggravated with each other. We have literally had beef from beginning to end in this race. I mean, I don't know. It must be the full moon. I'm not sure.
It's the toys out the pram situation. It's like I'm throwing my toys out the pram. Okay, now it's my turn. And you know what's going to happen, Ross? The stewards are going to be like this. You get a penalty. You get a penalty. You get a penalty. You definitely get a penalty for that. I
mean, I wonder how many drivers of the 48 that started this race are not going to get a penalty.
Well, at least I can count the DNFs on two hands at the moment. So Merlick, Ichiazo, Benker, Pullen, Day, Sato, and Schlichting.
I guarantee you, Moling is going to have a penalty. As many incidents as he was involved in today, there has to be one of them that was his fault. There's going to be a lot of penalties handed out after this. But from a spectator standpoint, it's been quite entertaining.
Yes, I would definitely say that on that particular situation. But Cameron Barker, in the meantime, really haven't talked about him much in the CMS Pro Red number 79 Cadillac. He's closing in for the final step on the rostrum against Smile Power Racing's number 19 Cadillac. of Mike Bell. Gap is 6/10 and closing. So Cameron Barker, another driver that, as I said, we haven't really mentioned in this race, might have a shot here, Ross, at the rostrum.
I'm sorry because I got distracted as I thought that there was another interaction with John Uyan and Luke Mitchell, which I don't know how either one is still going, but it was at the exact same spot that they had a wreck before. It looked like Mitchell just happened to lose it right in front of him.
Oh, God.
Sorry, you were saying...
Well, the thing... Okay, well, we're going to have... It looks like the replay is going to happen here anyway. This is going to be down the hill. So... Oh, no, Luke Mitchell just lost it in front and just smacked the barrier. That's exactly at the same place. It's like
for
karma.
a second there, I only caught the back of it, and I thought that it was a tit-for-tat moment, because I just saw Mitchell veering off into the wall, and I could have sworn that, you know, there comes the blue of CMS Pro car of John Uyan coming through, but yeah, I can't believe they're still going.
Yeah, so am I with John Uyan with that massive triple roll with the Soundco added onto the end of it, going out of Stavlo. But we are now a few seconds away from the end of the race. 15 seconds on the timer. And Dan Herlock from Smart Power Racing in the number 87. Oh, Luke Mitchell's lost it again. Lost it again. That car is... Yet. No, he's still...
Hang on to it! Golly.
Right. Timer has hit 0, which means we should be on our 45th and final lap. And there is the man at the minute, Daniel Herlock, who has been leading the way around this racetrack for just over an hour and a half now. Barker and Bell about a second apart, as Bell is still trying to cling on to that final place on the podium as we go through what will be put on for the final time. Daniel Herlock, a masterful display amidst all the carnage and the chaos and the calamity that we've had here at Spa-Francorchamps through into Lifagne. And then we got Campus, Stavlo, Cub, Paul Frere, Blanchimont, and then the chicane to bring us to the checkered here for round 4. I just have no real words to complete. Well, I think we've all run out of superlatives of craziness, madness, calamity, chaos. But Herlock is now making his way through Curb Paul Frere, through into Blanchimont. That is one of the 9X8s in front of him. I think that might be Gilles Lalonde. Daniel's just got to bring it home. He's going to line it up, straight line on the brakes, into the final chicane. And on lap 45, here at round 4, the 90 minutes of Spa, it's victory for Smart Power Racing. It's victory for Daniel Herlock.
Very nice run by Herlock. Impressive. He saw a different race than most anybody else in this field.
Yeah. So Daniel Kirby's going to finish in P2. Mike Bell will more than likely round out the podium in the hypercar side of things. And well, it's going to be the case that we're going to have Adrian Rice as our winner, as he's going to make his way down. So he's still got this lap to navigate. He's got a 27-second gap ahead of Antonis Paparinopoulos. So GT3's JT Tammy will take the win. And Peter Meyer in the lesser spotted Lexus RCF GT3. A car that you normally see with, I think it's Vassar Sullivan Racing in IMSA. That is going to be on its way to victory lane. But Adrian Rice, despite the dramas, is going to bring the Aston Martin Valkyrie V12 screaming to the rev limiter very shortly. And he's been in the wars as well. So what can you say? All our class leaders, well, Daniel Herlock, I think, is the one that's had the least drama. JT Tammy, I think, hasn't had that many dramas. He's had a great battle with David Junt all the way through the race. But, yeah, great to see an Aston Martin here, Ross, pick up a win at round 4 of the season.
Yeah, it was kind of anticipated. Lots of Aston Martins in the field. I thought that maybe Ryan Paulbert Reyes would have been able to give him some of a run up there towards the front with his 911, but obviously he ran into some issues early on. And We're possibly going to see what Alan Santo, a newcomer here, bringing on the McLaren 720S, what he might have been able to do, but he also ran into some problems. Schlichting, he was looking to make good on helping his teammate, David Junt, out to try and improve their team changes with BHR and GSR, but unfortunately wasn't able to really help out there. So Dark Thunder is going to end up running away, I think, a little bit more in the points as we get ready to head on to the next two races. Well, the preemptive race before Le Mans, we're going to be going to Qatar. So,
Yep. So
we go there.
There we go. Herlock wins overall ahead of Kirby, Bell, Gutierrez, Barker, Kesby, Dahlgren, Locke, Lane, and John Uyan, who still after that roll made it to the end and finished P10 in the hypercar side of things. Then Mitchell taking 11th, Adrian Rice winning in Hypercar Am ahead of Paparanopoulos, ahead of Suvic. Then John Mayer rounds out the top three. Hypercar Am, Alexander Saroma ahead of Goncalves, Troy Uyan, Gilles Lalonde, and Daniel Scott rounding out the top 20. Eric Monnier, Carl Strahal, Matthew Bruce, Jerry Chen, George Angelidis, and Sean Kelly, with Robin Merling the latter two DNFing right at the end. JT Tammy wins for Dark Thunder Racing in LMGT3 ahead of David Yunt and James Walker running out the top three. Mika Dern, Jamie Zalecki complete the top five in the LMGT3 ahead of Brian Van Berzekom and Matthew Overton. Peter Meyer in the Lexus RCF takes the win in LMGT3 and AM ahead of Robin Merlin, classified 35th when he DNF'd. Ahead of Alexander McQuarrie, Vasilis Katarinikis, Adam Gray, Stephen Miller, Alan Holden, Ryan Paulbert Reyes, and Max Sunderlap being the last of the drivers across the line. Further DNFs include Luciano Uchazio, Gilhelm Benke, Craig Pullen, Oliver Day, Alan Santo, and the first retiree, William Schlichling, in the number 7 Mercedes AMG Evo. Guys, I'm out of breath. I'm out of breath after that one.
It was fun. I tell you, my takeaway, aside from the madness, which was I found it to be entertaining. I don't broadcast every one of these races, so that was quite entertaining and a lot of fun for me. My takeaway, though, is the Aston Martin. You've got the Valkyrie taking the Hypercar Am win. And you've got obviously the Vantage taking the GT3 win, and then the Lexus winning the amateur GT3. That's pretty cool. I think it was the only one in the field, so that was pretty neat.
Yes, Ross. I know we got some drivers waiting in the waiting room very, very shortly, but what's your take on that race? Because we all. I think we all had the highs and lows and the exciting moments, the possibility of needing a standby defibrillator just in case, with some ibuprofen just on standby as well for good measure.
Well, yeah, you're not kidding. That was there was so much going on, and we weren't able to cover everything just because there were many battles that were taking place on. But I guess a couple takeaways. Smile Power is going to come out of this one with even more points over their rival CMS Pro Red, and now we're seeing CMS Pro Blue kind of get pulled into some of that rivalry that's taking place there. Both Uyans kind of getting taken to the thresher throughout the race. But a good takeaway with Gutierrez coming in with 4th. He and Kesby both having some great battles up there amongst those big juggernaut teams and really flexing themselves. We got Dahlgren, Angelidis, they both having woes. And I'm just wondering, can the Wookiee Monsters come back with that Alpine before we head into the halfway point in the season?
Yeah, well, let's get the interviews underway. Let's bring in our overall race winner from Smile Power Racing, Daniel Herlock. Kept his nose clean every single lap of this 44-lap encounter. So let's see if we can bring him in. Well, Daniel Herlock from Smile Power Racing, congratulations, winner of one of the maddest races I've seen on this platform for many a day. But you got to the end, you kept your nose clean, and you ran your own race. How are you feeling?
Yeah, it's pretty good race. In control for most of it after pretty much just had to survive the first stint while Kirby was in my slipstream. That was the most dangerous part. And then once we got a bit of a gap, it was just managing traffic without dying.
Yeah, I think we did see a couple of 187s, a few murder, death, kills around here, especially with it. But getting to backmarker GT3 traffic 10 minutes in, I think you kind of you knew that it was about just keeping your powder dry, just making sure that everything was all okay. What was the secret to it? Just sort of minding your P's and Q's and just not taking any undue risks.
Yeah, just patience, setting up the moves beforehand. There was multiple times I was lifting before I Rouge and Raddy on the straight to make sure I didn't catch the GT through there. So just setting it up in advance was very important around here, as it was in Imola.
Yeah. Final question, Dan, before we let you go. This brings you a little bit closer to Dan Kirby in terms of the battle for Hypercar, but it also helps the Smile Power racing crew with Mr. Bell. You both got a pretty solid finish. It was a 1-3 for the team. What's the thoughts going into Qatar, which is just a few weeks away from now?
Well, it's pretty good. It's always nice to have a close battle at the front. It's always fun that way. But Qatar, in the red flag race, we went well there. Started off well. So if we can replicate that, that'll be brilliant.
Well, Dan, thank you so much for your time after the race. I know you're physically and mentally exhausted after that one. Anyone you want to give a shout out to before we let you go, buddy?
Just all the boys in the Discord, keeping it entertaining even when I have a bit of a gap, so I don't drift off while managing GTs. I couldn't really do that this week, but yeah, just everyone that makes it fun, people working on the mod, very hard work on the mod and in the broadcast, so appreciate it all round to them.
Brilliant. Dan, thanks so much for your time. Congratulations on the win here for the 90 minutes of Spa, and we'll see you at the 100 minutes of Qatar on May 17th. Well done today.
Guys.
So a big thank you there from Dan Herlock. Let's bring in our Hypercar AM class winner, and it's victory for Aston Martin and Adrian Rice. Adrian, congratulations on the win. You had a late scare though, didn't you?
Yeah, it was a bit interesting there. My pit stop was longer than it should have been, so that let the Ferrari guy get ahead of me, and then I think he made a mistake, and it got a bit hectic after that.
But I mean, that car looks a handful going around Spa as well, especially with the naturally aspirated V12. Apart from the contact later on in the race within the final 10 minutes, what was your game plan coming into this? Because we knew that backmarker traffic was going to be caught very quickly within the first 10 to 15 minutes, and then it was just about surviving, wasn't it?
Yeah, and just try not to make a mistake. I mean, the Aston's a bit like last year's Lamborghini. You just got to absolutely drive the thing 100% the whole time. So that's why it gets a bit of a handful from time to time, or a bit handful looking. But it's got and it's not the fastest in a straight line. So you do get swallowed up down the straight unless you're really on it. But yeah, just try and make as little fewest mistakes as possible. That's the only game plan I've ever got.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But next time out, we go to Qatar for the 100 minutes for round 5. What are your thoughts ahead of that one?
I haven't even thought that far ahead. I mean, I don't get my opportunities to race at the moment are a bit hit and miss. So I tend to just take it as it comes. It'll be, if I get a chance to race, I'll race. If I don't, I'll don't. And the same thing, I'll just try to make as few mistakes and do as well as I can, and just be happy with whatever comes out.
Brilliant. Well, congratulations on the win, despite the late scare in the final 10 minutes, Adrian. Anyone you want to give a shout out to before we let you go?
Oh, just everyone that puts it on. It's good to have something that we can do, and yeah, it's all good fun.
Brilliant. Adrian, well done. And I'm sure we'll see at some point along the road, whether it's Qatar, Le Mans, or a little bit later on in the calendar. But well done on the win in Hypercar AM today.
Thank you.
Right. So I think, well, what we'll do is we'll bring in our LMGT3 class winner, JT, Tammy, and Jim. I'll hand this one over to you, my friend.
JT, congratulations! You had a very strong run today. Tell us about your race.
Thank you. Yeah. Basically, I couldn't make qualifying, and just had to work my way up the grid, trying to stay out of trouble as much as possible, and running to a strategy, saving tires and fuel, and it worked through the pit stop cycles, and I I managed to work my way to the front.
That was actually very impressive. And you said the key word there, staying out of trouble. There was obviously a lot of madness today. You did seem to keep your nose clean, and you ended up having a nice little battle with David at the end there.
Yeah, I tried very hard to try to stay out of trouble, but unfortunately there were some incidents, and it really sucks. But it luckily didn't impact the race too horribly, and I was one of the lucky ones.
I'm not sure, short of somebody who fell out of the race on the first lap, that every car wasn't involved in something. So you did a fine job of navigating that and also overcoming the not being able to qualify. So that was a fantastic run, and obviously good for your points situation as well. Did I lose you?
No,
Well,
I'm here.
Okay, all right, good. Okay, so again, congratulations. Do you have anybody you want to shout out to?
Just the usual people, everybody involved making this a thing. Storm Gang, getting this mod ready, getting these cars so evenly matched. Everyone, the admin team taking care of this, making sure we're able to do these races. The whole CMS being able to put on this program for us, and you guys for being able to cover this. Everybody gets to create this wonderful weekend for us, and we really appreciate it as a driver. So thank you guys.
All right, man. Congratulations again. We'll see you next week, next race at Guitar.
Yep, thank you.
So, yep. So, well, let's bring in. We've got someone else waiting. He did finish runner-up, but let's bring the man in. Alexander McQuarrie, finishing second in the LMGT3 AM class behind Peter Meyer. Jim, I'll hand this one over to you, buddy.
Okay. Yeah. Well, Alexander, congratulations. Second place run today. You managed to survive the madness that went on out there.
Thank you. It was a lot of carnage. It's the first time ever driving this track at all. I mean, I had some practice earlier in the week, but yeah, it was a pretty terrifying track for sure. I was glad I had no offs, no crashes and stuff like that. So I'd call that a win. But yeah, Peter was so far ahead, and I don't know. I got to pick his brain. I mean, he must have been field managing or something, because I was in first, and my pit strategy was not it today, I guess. So.
Well, he did have a fantastic run. Like you said, it was chaos and madness out there for sure. So first time ever at Spa. That's interesting, because there's not many people that haven't driven Spa. It's obviously one of the more popular tracks in racing in general. So, what was your impression here for the first time?
It's fun, fast, but just you got to keep, cross your T's, dot your I's on these, turns. I mean, like any little mistake and you just fly off and your race is done. I mean, up La Rouge is like trying to figure out what gear to be in is most optimal, so most control. But yeah, it's La Rouge is pretty nuts crazy turn. I've seen people helicopter at the top. It's nuts. Yeah. So
yeah, well, I'll tell you what, the more you drive here, you'll grow to love this track. It's one of my favorites. It's just it's so interesting, and it's different in every vehicle that you drive. But congratulations again. You had a great run there in second. And you got anybody you want to shout out to while we have you in here?
Well, big thanks to my girlfriend. Saturday we got errands to run. I told her, hey, I got a race in the morning. She's like, okay, fine, we'll do the errands later. I'm like, all right, perfect. So big thanks to my girl. So.
All right, man. Well, congratulations again, and we'll look to see you at the next race.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Have a nice weekend.
Yeah.
Well, there we go. Well, that's it for the Virtual World Sports Car Championship Round 4 for 2025. The storm has settled finally here at Spa amidst madness, chaos, calamity and carnage. But there's still a long road to go until the end of the season. You've been joining myself, Alex Goldschmidt, Jim Cunningham and Ross Smith. A big thank you to James Parfitt behind the scenes as our broadcast director and producer for providing all the pictures in sound and vision that you have been seeing, not just on the Champion Sim Racing YouTube channel, but also on the JP Broadcasting Network. This has been a JPB network production. So a big thank you to you all for watching. And, well, as always, race hard, race fair. And if in doubt, you better go flat out. We'll see you next time for round 5, the 100 Minutes of Qatar on May 17th. Until then, good night.